Hey everybody, and welcome to Twin Talk, a video discussion show where twin brothers Chris and Kevin drink and draw. We're talking about comic books, movies, and all things pop culture. We are your hosts, Chris Hart,
Kevin Hart.
Today we're taking a look back at Thor.
For Asgard! Stick around to the end of the episode to see how our drawing of Thor came out, and if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel for more content.
Thor is a 2011 Marvel Studios film directed by Kenneth Branagh, who's a very talented person. I knew him from Dunkirk and Tenet. This guy's great. I think he does a great job directing this. It also has a great cast between Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Nobody else can play him now, in my opinion, after seeing what he's done with the character. We also have Anthony Hopkins, Natalie Portman, Ray Stevenson, Idris Elba, Tom Hiddleston. This is a stacked cast.
And Kat Dennings,
Mew Mew. I'd like to show her my Mew Mew.
Yeah, this movie was still in the early phases of the MCU, right?
Phase 1.
3 years after the first movie, 2008's Iron Man. And that kind of shows in this. They're definitely going like bigger concepts with the big three with Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. So it was cool to see them like developing their own origin movies. But this one didn't age too well with the CGI. Is my one gripe.
Yeah.
Is that some shots look really, really early concept. Even Chris Hemsworth's like blonde eyebrows and like the way he made it, he looks different than the next few movies.
He does, yeah.
This looks like they just like painted him blonde or something, which he is blonde. Right? So
Yeah,
like, why do they do that?
He's got like a darker hair, but like eventually he takes the character into the direction of, he makes it his own, right? And now he's iconic as Thor. But this one is the first time we see him. I think it was a great job, like you said. I think they're trying to keep him more like old school comic book Thor. I think it's nice to see him as just like ego-driven, like very, very braggart,
Pompous.
Yeah.
He's just like assuming the throne, right? And that's the character arc. Great character arc. Very simple. We've seen it before in something like Lion King. Or like it's got that vibe of like this family backstabbing each other and this whole like royalty aspect. So he had to like earn the right to be Asgard's
get humbled
king.
a little bit. Yeah.
To be humbled, yeah. And so I always love that journey, especially because he has to become worthy by the end to hold Mjolnir and Thor's hammer and everything, and all of that just really worked. It's a really solid movie.
I remember when we left the theater back in 2011 when we saw this, I thought it was a really solid movie, especially for a Thor movie. I thought it was going to be very hard. Nobody knew what it was going to be, right? It was like, how do you translate it from the comic books to live action?
Shakespearean
with like the old
dialogue,
English, and like the very like Norse mythology. Is it going to be relatable to fans and stuff?
Rainbow bridges.
Yeah, and I think they did a pretty solid job of like grounding it enough, because it's that whole fish out of water technique they do here, where we bring Thor to Earth, and it's a very simple, fun, like, but it's also a very contained story. There's not like, yeah, of course it's the end of the world type stuff too, but it's very like secluded end of the world in that little town they have with the Destroyer, which I think the Destroyer looks amazing in this movie.
Yeah, right out of the comic book.
But I even like the first few minutes we have Anthony Hopkins, which is perfect casting as Odin, the All-Father, giving us that fairy tale beginning of like back in time in Asgard.
Very fantastic.
Yeah, very, very like fairy tale, and I really appreciated that, because it sets it up right from the get. Like, we're not wasting time. This is the story, and then it immediately, very quickly brings us to Earth. So now we like are more grounded and relatable. But I loved the elements of Asgard, the way it looked and stuff. Every time I was in Asgard, I was happy in the movie. I thought it was really strong stuff.
The chemistry too between Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman, I thought was great. By the end of the movie, he makes the ultimate sacrifice to never see her again to save Asgard and breaks the Rainbow Bridge. That was like very heroic in my opinion. But like, and by the end of the movie, I felt like devastated for him. I was like, man, I was like, he did the heroic thing. Yeah. And then he even like doesn't take the kingship, right? By the end, he's like, oh. At first, he was like, you're an old man and a fool. And then he's like, oh, there'll never be a wiser king than you, Odin, and a better father. So great character, change.
And I love seeing Thor with his helmet when he's like trying to assume the throne.
Yeah.
He's got his awesome comic accurate helmet. I wish they would utilize that a little bit more.
Definitely. I wish he would wear it a little bit more. Tom Hiddleston literally steals the show as Loki. He's an incredible talent as this character, very mischievous. Love that he wears the horns.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah.
And even his character arc was great. He just wanted to like prove himself, and his whole frost giant background and everything, and it was just really well done.
Going into this, I was really excited to see Loki, because I used to have, when we first started collecting comics when we were like 10 years old, before that, like when we were first going to shops, I would get like Thor comic books with Jack Kirby and see Loki, and he looked like this old, like weaselly, like magician man. So I was like looking to see how Tom Hiddleston would, translate the character to live action, and he's become iconic.
Yes,
to the point where we even got his own Disney Plus series with him. Everything he does with this, you feel like you kind of feel for him a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
say.
say.
But at the same time, you can
character.
never trust him.
Yeah, that's what I say. You like feel bad for him about his like where does he belong? Like, his purpose. He wants glorious purpose, as we see in Avengers and all these other different movies. What they've done with his character is unbelievable. It's crazy, throughout the MCU.
Both of them, Thor and Loki, what they've become over the last 10, 12 years has become, it's pretty interesting to see the character arcs.
That's over 10 years of stories, and they're still entertaining to this day.
Yeah.
I love that last fight on the Rainbow Bridge. The Rainbow Bridge, the Einstein-Rosen Bridge, was so well done, I thought, because it could be something so cheesy. And they made it so believable how it's like the travel out of Asgard and the entryway. So that was really cool. I love that fight at the end because Loki, he's just, like you said, he's this Weasley guy that just wants to usurp the throne, and then I love that Thor puts the hammer on his chest at the end.
He can't get up,
and shows that he's not worthy for it. So that was like very symbolic, I felt, and just that end fight between the brothers clashing, I love
He's
that.
like holding his hand and like, let's go. Like it's all pretty emotional.
You feel
impactful.
bad because it's like bad blood between family and this whole family dynamic that really works so well. But my favorite scene's gotta be the Frost Giant.
100%.
Fight.
I agree completely.
I remember even being in the theater, I was like, wow, this is cool. When it was in the trailer when he brings the hammer down and the whole place.
You want me to bring the hammer down?
The whole thing goes like up, and then there's like that ice dog chasing them. That was all. Again, the CGI doesn't hold up as well, but that was a great scene.
Yeah, the Frost Giant scene is going to be my favorite too. I just love the look of the Frost Giants, like
scary.
King Laufey, right?
Yeah.
And they're on Jotunheim, and it's like this dark, creepy ice planet. And again, like I liked Thor from the comics because like Jack Kirby's designs, they were so out there, so sci-fi. This movie is pretty grounded, but the times that it is sci-fi, I have really, appreciate it. Obviously, Thor later on in the next few films gets more fantastical, more Jack Kirby. Like this I felt like was like a nice appetizer. Like, all right, this is the world of Thor. Now let's build from here. Which eventually, when we get to like Ragnarok and stuff,
you've accepted it. We can go.
Yeah, now we can go balls to the wall with it. Even Love and Thunder looks bonkers.
Yeah.
So it's like you can go full sci-fi. But this was a nice grounded movie. But the times that they do go full sci-fi with like Jotunheim and the Frost Giants and Odin, and he's just like mowing down Frost Giants with his weapons.
So much carnage.
Yeah, like it's just very like just cool, like Viking, and like Game of Thrones was hot around this time too. So it's like, all right, cool, seeing all this stuff in Marvel superhero fashion.
Yeah.
And they just very creepy the way they look with the red eyes and the dark blue. It was just very cool. That whole scene, the action scene when he takes them all out, is very cool.
Just showcases the hammer too, and the lightning and how he's taking them all
Mjolnir's
out.
on full display in this one.
Yeah, definitely. That's why. And plus, even just Thor's attitude when he's like next, and he
he's a badass.
lowers the hammer. You can hear it's like, and he's like flying with it and everything.
Yeah, I remember just really being fascinated when I saw this, and when I left the theater, I was like, that was a solid origin story, and just seeing Thor with his cape and the hammer on the Rainbow Bridge, like flying, I really liked the movie. I loved seeing Loki translated to live action. So this movie to me was pretty solid. In retrospect, though, as far as like rewatchability, I feel like it's not as strong. But I will give it a 7.5 as my final grade for it.
I'm gonna go a little bit higher. I'm gonna go 8 out of 10 because it is such a solid, simple story. Incredible cast, incredible chemistry between everyone. Really amazing fight sequences, and you feel great leaving with Foo Fighters learning to walk again at the end. So it was like that was great.
And even just talking about favorite scenes too, like we both agreed on the Frost Giants, but I can't undersell how awesome the Destroyer is.
Yes.
When he finally comes to that small little town, his design is ripped straight from the comics, and like seeing Thor battle the Destroyer was really cool to me.
Very comic booky. Yeah. What did you guys think about Thor? Let us know in the comments below. Anyways, that about wraps up today's episode of Twin Talk. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment below to join the discussion, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. We'll see you next time. Peace!